Something creepy was happening in small towns around America. Bank employees secretly being stalked.
They would stake them out, watch them.
Videotaped in the sanctity of their own home.
Hid in people's backyards, and they would learn their routines.
Even trolled on social media.
Very heavy reliance on Facebook. Who they were, who their family members were, where they worked, where they lived.
Knoxville crime reporter Jamie Satterfield says the intimate details of the bank employees' lives were documented in dossiers that eerily read like personal diaries.
They would include in those dossiers any photographs that they had of the intended target and family members.
It's a twisted, sadistic plan. Find a bank employee with a lot to lose, then threaten to kill someone they love.
They were preying on these bank employees' love for their families to get them to do what they wanted.
Matthew Yussman was a perfect target. A high-ranking executive at Achieve Credit Union in New Britain, Connecticut.
Your mom lives with you?
Yes, I'd moved her in after my father had died.
Matthew had just gotten home from his weekly hockey game when he found some uninvited guests waiting for him.
What happened?
I pull into my driveway about midnight that night. Guy was running down my driveway, yelling at me, "Police, police, get on the ground," pointing a gun at me.
And what goes through your mind?
Right away, I knew he wasn't a police officer. I could tell by the way he was dressed. He was black mask, goggles, gloves.
No badge.
No badge, nothing that said
But he
police.
had a gun.
So right away, I knew that this was going to be a home invasion.
Matthew's 70-year-old mother hears the commotion and steps right into trouble.
My mother actually comes through the door, says, "Matt, what's going on?" And immediately one of the guys turns and points the gun at her.
And so it begins.
And so it begins.
It was the beginning of 12 hours of torture. The masked men tell Matthew to steal $4.2 million from his own credit union. And if he refuses, his mom will pay the ultimate price.
What was the look in your mother's eyes?
Fear. She was terrified.
Matthew knew they meant business.
What was the plan?
They gave me the phone and said, "You're going to call your boss at precisely 8:15 and tell them what's going on and that he needs to meet you at the branch. You're going to empty the vault." And then precisely at 10 o'clock, I was told they would text me with delivery instructions.
And there was a terrifying incentive for Matthew to obey their orders.
They had brought me over to a table, took off my blindfold and said, "Look down at the table." I did, and there was all kinds of wires, plastic, and 3 bricks of, looked like clay, but they told me it was C4. Never seen
Plastic
C4, right?
explosives.
Plastic. And they said they were going to attach it to me because they said they didn't trust that I was going to go ahead with the plan.
If you don't have the deal done,
If I don't have the deal
you're
done,
going to
explode at 11 o'clock.
And for Matthew, that wasn't the most frightening part.
They said that after they strapped the bomb to me, they were going to put one underneath my mother's bed to make sure that you do this plan.
The two men then order his mother to her room and tape her to her bed.
They brought me to where my mother was now duct taped to the bed and said, "Kiss your mother goodbye."
Chilling words.
And I didn't. I looked at her, said everything's going to be all right.
But deep down, Matthew wasn't so sure. At precisely 8:15, with what appears to be explosives wrapped around his chest, Matthew makes a desperate call to his boss.
His first thing was, "Is this a drill?"
And you said what?
I said, "This is my life, don't play with it."
Matthew begs his boss not to call the cops. But when his boss hung up, he immediately dialed 911.
Bristol 911, this emergency.
I just received a call from one of our VPs stating that he and his mom is a victim right now of a home invasion. He states he has a bomb. He's sitting in his car, that the perpetrators also put a bomb under the mother's bed. And he's instructing me to vacate our New Britain branch because they're going to come and rob it.
In a panic, fearing the bandits may detonate the suspected bomb on his body or somehow harm his mother, Yussman drove here to the credit union. Things were about to take an unexpected turn.
They told you no police.
Right. As I'm pulling in here from the back, I don't see any police.
But as Matthew turns the final corner into the parking lot, relief turns into absolute terror.
When I pull in the parking lot, I see a parking lot full of police officers
Cops are already there.
Cops already there. And now I start to panic because now I think if the guys are following me, they're just going to push the button because I deviated from the plan
They're
because
gonna either
obviously I kill me
or kill you and your mother.
Surveillance video captures the whore in the parking lot. That's Matthew's car, and cops close in.
The police start screaming at me, what are you doing here? What are you doing? Get out of your car. I said, I'm wearing a bomb. And they're like, where is it? And I'm like, it's strapped to my chest. And they're like, lift up your shirt. So I lift up my shirt, and all the police end up moving behind their vehicles.
The bomb squad is called, and cops ask Matthew to slowly exit the car to get a better look at the device strapped to his chest.
I'm telling them at 10 o'clock, my phone is going to go off. At 11 o'clock, the bomb is going to go off.
At 10 o'clock on the dot, as planned, Matthew gets a text from the real robbers asking simply, ready?
And they're using your mom's cell phone.
Right, I'm relaying what's being texted to me, so the police are like, stall them, stall them.
The robbers text a drop location at a cemetery. Matthew responds 20 minutes. And then the phone goes deadly silent. The real robbers were on to the cops.
I never got another text back, and that's when the clock started ticking to the 10:59.
10:59.
10:59. And that was the longest minute of my entire life.
Matthew Yussman believed he and his mother had just 1 minute to live.
Tick-tock. And the whole time, you're trying to prepare for it. You ask yourself, am I going to feel it? Am I going to even know it if it goes off?
And what's going through your mind?
11 o'clock, when the thing didn't go off, I was like, okay. And I'm like, maybe the clock's off. So at 11:01, I'm still not convinced that this thing isn't going to go off.
After thinking he's come within a minute of his life, Matthew's heart nearly stops. He's told the bomb strapped to his chest is a fake, and there was never an explosive under his mother's bed.
They point guns at you.
Yeah, never had that.
They duct tape you to the bed.
Yeah.
They take your son
Yes.
to go rob his credit union.
Yeah.
With a bomb
Just
strapped
with
to
a
his
bomb,
body.
Yeah. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my 70 years.
But believe it or not, it's about to get even worse.
It wasn't over.
Up next, the robbery really does blow up in Matthew's face.
You went from victim to being suspect.
Right away.
Like
I had
that.
Did he torture his own mom to make millions?
You failed that lie detector test.
They told me I failed it.
They cuffed you.
They cuffed me.
After all this.
And I said, what are you doing? Am I under arrest?
You went from victim to being suspect.
Right away.